Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll give everyone some time to join and we'll get started just as soon as everyone gets started. And just a few quick housekeeping items before we jump in. We'll send the recording out after the session so you can share it with your team or revisit anything that you wanted to rewatch. You can also drop the questions in the chat at any point, and we'll keep an eye on them as we go and try to answer them. And then we'll leave a little bit of time for Q&A at the end. So I'll just give a couple more minutes, let everyone join, and then we'll dive in. So thank you so much. Okay, so how about we dive in and we'll just start with some introductions. My name is Genevieve Carbone, and I'll be facilitating today's session. And we're joined by two of our product folks here. So we first have Falk Gottlob, and he is our Chief Product Officer. So Falk has spent over 30 years building enterprise products, and he's helped teams move faster and operate at scale. So he'll open up with our product vision and why this matters right now. And then we also have Nadia Opukova, and she is our forward deployed engineer. So that means that she works directly with our customers and our sales team to make sure that our platform performs in a real enterprise environment. So she also used to be an instructional designer, so she really understands what it's like to work from the inside. And then again, I'm Genevieve. I've spent the last 5 years working closely with learning and development and enablement teams in product marketing, really just translating what practitioners need into product stories and launches. So I'm going to help guide the conversation today and just make sure we get all of your questions answered. And just a reminder, today's webinar, we're going to launch our newest product. So it's our Smartcat Learning Content Agent for SCORM translation. And we're going to show it live working end to end. So everything that you're going to see today is live and available in the product. But before we jump into the why and the product, we really just want to start with something very simple. We just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for joining us and being here today. And more importantly, for all of the work that you would do. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. So global learning is really hard. We know that it's very high stakes. And so much of the work that goes into global learning is often invisible. You don't see it until something breaks. So today, it's really not just a webinar. We're hoping that this is a thank you to the teams who have been holding global rollouts together, through just sheer coordination, the manual effort, all of the constant updates that come from that. And we're delivering this webinar because you really deserve a workflow that respects your time and a system that scales with the reality that you're currently operating in. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Falk to help frame why this matters now and why SCORM translation is the place that a lot of enterprise learning workflows are breaking first.
Awesome. Thank you, Genevieve, and welcome everyone from wherever you are in the world. I'm saying hello from sunny San Francisco here this morning, this evening, whatever it might be for you. Thanks again for joining us today. My name is Falk Gottlob here from Smartcat, and today we're talking about something most L&D teams struggle with, but rarely get real help for. And I hope you can really find yourself in the story we're going to tell you and the solution we're going to show you here. But at the end, this is about translating entire learning experience, the great work that you often create, your teams often create, and not just translating files or moving files around, right? And while that had gotten us here, it's probably not good enough anymore. So this session is about what breaks when SCORM goes global, why existing workflows don't scale, and how we are rethinking this end-to-end with our content agent for SCORM that we are launching here today with you and that we are demoing you later. So global training is no longer a future state for most organizations. It's absolutely the baseline, right? Training now has to launch everywhere at the same time. There's no English first, rest later buffer anymore that we were so used to over the years, right? The shift alone breaks a lot of assumption. We still design L&D workflows around today. That is really key. Could you go to the next slide? Um, so here's a real tension in the system. Demands keep rising. I'm pretty sure you know that, right? There's a need for more training, more faster updates, faster changes, more regulatory changes in the different countries that get introduced that you need to monitor and also update in your learning content. There are more roles created in organization that you need to train, right? It is not as siloed anymore as it was before. But deep down, the timelines get shorter. You need to speed up and deliver results much faster. But capacity doesn't scale. Your capacity essentially doesn't scale with that, right? You have the same teams, sometimes even shrinking, right? The same hours and the same heroic efforts that the company often relied on, right? That you brought forward. An expectation grow faster than L&D capacity itself, right? With much like higher burnout on your teams, right? And that's how usually these brittle, broken processes start to come in. Can you go to the next slide? So this is where things then really snap. SCORM localization breaks the workflow because it's treated like a file problem, right? But it's not one file. It's a full learning experience with content, media, logic, context. All of that is brought together into one single thing. And when you localize it like a document, everything downstream suffers. It is not one file that you upload, right? It is so much more complex. Please go to the next slide. So as I said, right, a SCORM course isn't just text to translate. It's videos with subtitles and voiceovers, images with embedded text, often PDFs, extra downloads, interactive elements, assessments, right? And often there are even more elements added over time to make these experiences more interactive, more user-friendly, right? And um, every one of these elements adds risk. It adds manual work, some copy and pasting stuff around, right? And places where things can be missed or can be like not in sync or not moving at the same time. And in reality is most teams underestimate the scope before the translation even starts, right? You don't know what you will find in all these courses once you start and how you need to move it forward, right? And can you go to the next slide? So at this point, I think it becomes really clear that the system stops helping, right? You become the integration layer. You, not all the tools that you have bought or your company has bought or that you're using. You become the integration layer, the glue that needs to bring it together. Copy, paste, review, rebuild, repeat between tools, different vendors, spreadsheets, emails, exports, right? And the burden really shifts to the human in the loop. Doesn't matter if you have AI or not. It is you that needs to make it work, right? And deep down, that's not scale. Deep down, that is duct tape. Can you go next slide? So, and don't forget, reviews are necessary, right? While AI and so does a fantastic job, it gets here there 80, 90, 95%, right? You need reviews in the process and they're necessary. But what's not necessary is the chaos that comes with it, right? From draft ready, send to review, wait, make changes, do this loop again, again, and again, right? Um, Reality is most reviews happen out of context in spreadsheets, in some project management tool, right, where all the files need to be brought together, um, or email threads, right? That turns quality assurance into time tax instead of like a confidence step, because that's what you want to do. You want to feel really good about the review process. That's where you want to verify the last step of the work. But deep down, it becomes hard to bring it even together in one thing, right? Can you go to the next slide? And then this happens, right? And you probably can emphasize with it. Right before launch, something changes. Someone comes in, reviews something, now it needs to move. Or something else changes, right? And um, you start over because of a sentence, a new graphic, some regulatory changes that were introduced right in the process, right? Suddenly you reopen the files again, re-trigger translation, and hope nothing breaks, right? This is where teams lose trust essentially in their own process because it becomes so unmanageable, right? Could you go to the next slide? So this is not just an L&D headache. That this is where it really becomes a business problem. It's not just that the training itself slips and you can roll the training out slower. This is where real business implication are introduced here, right? You delay a launch. You know, delay the readiness of a team that could already generate revenue for your organization, right? Revenue gets delayed because enablement is late. Risk increases through compliance gaps in how your team talks, right? Um, uh, and ultimately, readiness drops as teams fall behind competitors. And that's just not acceptable these days anymore. Speed of learning is speed of business. Full stop. If you cannot enable your teams, you fall behind as a business, right? And today, learning is being held back by these brittle workflows, is like copy pasting files around in all of this process. Up to this point, nothing I've described is probably exotic to you, right? Or even sounds like an edge case. Um, this is a day-to-day reality most global teams live in, right? There hasn't been a better option in dealing with this, right? And the frustrating part is this. None of these problems exist because teams are careless or underskilled. You are not the problem, right? That is an important piece here, right? They exist because workflows and tools are essentially broken in how they work together, right? We are asking modern global training programs to run on tools and assumption that were never designed for this level of scale, speed, or change. So at some point, you stop asking how to optimize around the pain and start asking a more fundamental question. And we all should ask ourselves that question, right? The time of managing the status quo is probably over, right? And I really think there must be a better way of doing that. And what I will do now is I will hand it over to Genevieve to actually talk to you about what this better way look like, right? We're all very excited to highlight it, show it to you today, and hopefully we get a lot of feedback from you so we can even make it more uh, successful for all of us. So, Genevieve, please take it from here.
Thank you, Falk. Yes, absolutely. There has to be a better way because the solution isn't working harder. It isn't heroics by any means. The solution is really a better system that supports this workflow. So, if the workflow is going to stay fragmented, it's always going to break under the enterprise pressure. And the more language the more update holders, the more asset types that you have, it's just going to continue to crack. So instead of translating content as disconnected files, we're going to rebuild the workflow so the learning experience comes together end to end. So that's what we're very excited to talk about and to launch today. We're excited to announce the Learning Content Agent for SCORM. So this is our first expert-enabled multi-agent system that's going to be able to translate SCORM files all in one continuous workflow. So for the first time, teams can translate an entire SCORM package in one system, no more juggling multiple tools, and it's really all of your assets. So it's the text, video, images, documents, interactions all together. So no asset juggling or, broken previews, no cleanup after the export. This is going to be able to replace multiple tools that you currently have and all of those manual steps that you have within one workflow. So it might sound a little bit complex, but this is what the workflow looks like, and it really is as simple as outlined here. You're going to be able to upload your SCORM package, and then the SCORM translation multi-agent system is going to extract every asset automatically. So all of your files, including video, images, diagrams, and then it'll translate it in one flow so all of the assets stay connected. And you can add in your reviewers, whether those are your internal subject matter experts, or you can pull in a reviewer from our Smartcat marketplace. And then you can export it into a multilingual SCORM package, and that's one file and it's ready to be uploaded into your LMS. So I'm very excited to hand this over to Nadia, who is going to show us what this looks like in practice.
Right. Thank you, Genevieve. Thank you, Falk, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Right. So before we jump into the live demo, let me quickly set the frame. So as Genevieve already said, the flow is pretty simple. You just upload your SCORM package once. Smartcat automatically detects all the assets that are included in it, such as text, images, videos, diagrams, you name it. From there, everything moves through one connected workflow. Nothing gets broken into separate files. Assets stay linked, languages stay linked, and you don't end up managing disconnected versions across different tools. Yeah, and as Genevieve said, you can bring in your internal reviewers or even use our built-in marketplace of professional linguists. And everything happens within one system. And at the end, you get export a single multilingual SCORM package ready to be delivered straight to your LMS. Now that you've seen the model, let's actually prove it live. I'll walk through the full workflow end-to-end in Smartcat, starting with the real articulate rise SCORM package. And just as a quick note before we begin, we are also actively working on support for articulate storyline files because we know how complex storyline courses are to update and localize. So let me quickly introduce Melissa. Melissa is an instructional designer. She is responsible for maintaining and localizing training content that already exists, often in SCORM format. In this case, Melissa has a SCORM file. She can upload it to their LMS. She can send it for translation. But the problem is she doesn't actually know what's inside. The course isn't just text, right? There are images, videos, PDFs, interactive elements, and before translation even starts, Melissa needs to understand the full scope of the course. Otherwise, she's constantly worried she'll miss something, especially if she tries to check everything manually. And on top of that, this course needs to be delivered in multiple languages, of course. What would really help here is something simple. Melissa needs to be able to open the SCORM package and clearly see everything that's inside without needing access to the original authoring tool. She needs to define all target languages upfront and be confident that all content, including media and interactions, will be handled automatically across those languages. So let's take a look at how we handle this in Smartcat. I start with the most basic step. I upload the SCORM zip. Here I can name the project and set the source language. The course doesn't have to be in English. I can define or adjust the source language right away. Next, I select target languages. That might be 5 or it might be 20. What's important is that I'm not creating copies of the course. All languages live inside one SCORM, which makes future updates realistic. Then I choose the translation workflow. Some teams rely on AI only, and that's okay. Others require human review. I just pick the template that matches how my team actually works. And, and once everything is set, I click Create Project, and the SCORM is sent for analysis. So after the analysis of the SCORM, Smartcat automatically detected everything inside the file. Not just text, but also images, videos, attachments, all interactive elements. I don't extract anything manually. Everything is identified in one place. Let's look at images. They are grouped into 3 buckets: included, skipped, and need review. I quickly scan them. If there is some text on images, I include them in this included bucket. If there is no text, I just skip them. And I'm always in control. Nothing is forced. The same logic applies to videos and attachments. For videos, I decide whether I need voiceover or subtitles. PDFs or other files that are attached to the SCORM are also already here, detected automatically. So the point is, all assets live in one place. I didn't extract anything and I didn't upload anything separately. The system detected it automatically. So let's pause here for a second. And let's recap what we've just seen. What does this actually change for Melissa in real life? First of all, Melissa can open and inspect the SCORM even without access to the original authoring tool. That's huge. She can clearly see everything what makes up the course: the text, images, videos, and any attached files, all in one place. Then she can also define the full scope upfront, what content is included and which target languages are needed. And most importantly, Melissa no longer has to manually inventory the course or guess what should or shouldn't be included in translation. By the end of this step, Melissa has one clear view of the entire course. She understands what's inside, what gets translated, and into which languages before translation even starts. Well, the next obvious question is, how does Melissa translate all of this without turning one course into 10 or 20 separate ones? This is usually where things start to fall apart. Different languages become different files, different tools get involved, and very quickly, one course turns into a set of disconnected pieces that are hard to control. So, how can we help Melissa overcome all these difficulties? Let's take a look. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting AI translation for the entire course at once. I already selected all target languages earlier, so I'm not creating copies per language. I'm translating one course as a single system. How long this takes depends on the size of the course, but usually it's just a few minutes. While the translation is running, let's see what's happening behind the scenes, how Smartcat approaches AI translation. I can connect custom glossaries, so key terminology is handled consistently from the start. Also, we support translation memory, and it's applied automatically, which means approved translations are reused and improved over time. And the key point here is not speed only, it's the fact that everything stays together. Everything is translated within one workflow. Now we just wait until the AI translation is over. Perfect, that's great. Let's open the course in our translation editor. For text, you can see the source and target languages side by side. If I open this asset menu at the top, I can switch to the translation of one of the images and check how it was automatically translated. The same logic applies to video. I just select a video from the same menu, and this opens up our video editor where I can review the translation, check subtitles, edit the resulting file. And attachments also live in the same place. I can choose an attachment from this menu and review how its translated version looks without leaving the project. Awesome. So let's pause here for a moment and recap what this actually means for Melissa. Instead of managing a collection of files or separate course versions, she still has one course now available in multiple languages. We've just seen one language version, but there are three actually. Everything stays connected, all assets remain in the same workflow, and the course is ready to move into the next step. Right. So at this point, AI translation is done and it helped Melissa move fast. But before anything goes live, translation review is required, correct? So the challenge here is not checking the text. It's making sure the translation actually works across different types of content and doing that without creating a mess of files, screenshots, and email threads. So how Smartcat helped Melissa do that? Let's have a look. This is where we move into the review stage. If I work with internal reviewers or professional linguists, I can invite them directly into the project. I can assign them to specific tasks and languages they are responsible for. Reviewers can be invited either by email or via a direct project link. If I don't have the right resources internally, I can also bring in a professional linguist from Smartcat's built-in marketplace, which includes over 500,000 vetted translators. I can assign specific roles to each reviewer, depending on what level of access or responsibility they need. Now, if I'm responsible for reviewing the Spanish version of this form, for example, I simply open it inside our translation editor. Here, I can check the translation and make edits if needed. And at the same time, I can see how all my changes affect the layout using this live preview at the bottom. While reviewing text, I can also use professional translation tools directly from the toolbar, including custom glossaries, which makes review faster and more consistent. To review the translation of an image, I open the asset menu at the top and select the image that I want to review. So here I can edit the text, change colors. I can even switch fonts if I feel like doing it. Adjust the font size. Okay, to work on video translation, reviewers open the video from the same menu and continue working in Smartcat Video Editor. So here they can review source and target subtitles side by side, go through the translation segment by segment, and check the reading speed to make sure the speech sounds natural. There is also a timeline, which allows us to lengthen or shorten specific segments if needed. What's also really useful is voice selection. Reviewers can choose a suitable voice from our AI voice library and even select different voices for each target language. All edits made here are saved automatically, so there is no need to export or save anything separately. Now we go back to the main project inside our translation editor, and we want to make some additional text edits. Using the live preview, I can click on a specific phrase directly inside the preview, and I'm automatically taken to that exact segment in the translation editor above. This is especially helpful when working with larger courses. And as soon as I make a change, for example, I delete or adjust the word, I immediately see that update reflected in the live preview. So that's great. Once the review of all assets included in the course is complete, it's time to finish the translation work. I simply click Done in the top right corner, and the status changes to completed. Great. At this point, the entire SCORM has been translated and reviewed, and all language versions that require review are stored within the same project in one place. Great. So let's pause here for a moment and recap why this actually matters for our main character and for all professionals like Melissa. At this stage, review no longer happens in spreadsheets or disconnected files. Reviewers can check translations in the context of the actual course, seeing how text, images, and video work together, not in isolation. Everything is reviewed in one place within the same workflow. Feedback and approvals happen collaboratively without long email threads or passing documents back and forth. And this is an important shift. Instead of managing multiple documents, experts, comments, Melissa works with one project where all languages and all assets stay connected. Once the review is complete and everything is approved, the course is ready to move forward. Great, so we are coming to the expert portion, right? At this point, the translations are approved, feedback is resolved, Melissa knows the course is ready. Now Melissa needs one last thing, to make sure the course can actually be delivered without turning delivery into another fragile manual process. In many cases, delivery is where things break. If Melissa doesn't have access to the original authoring tool, Melissa can't rebuild the SCORM herself. And even if Melissa does have access, updating the course usually means manually replacing assets, language by language. Rebuilding and exporting multiple versions is slow, error-prone, and hard to maintain. Melissa doesn't want delivery to become yet another risky step. What Melissa really needs is a way to deliver the course exactly as it is, without rebuilding it and without managing separate experts for every language. Before exporting my translated SCORM, I do one final check. I review the course as a whole exactly the way a learner will experience it. You'll notice that the Open an Editor button has changed to Preview Course. That's the signal that we are moving from editing to validating the final experience. So now the system is generating the preview view for us. And the preview opens in a separate tab. This is the finished course from a learner's perspective. I don't have to guess how the translated course will look. I can click through everything myself. I can scroll through the course as one continuous flow. All elements come together here: text, images, videos, interactions. I can open all of them, make sure everything feels coherent. And I can also check how the course behaves on different devices to make sure learners get a consistent experience everywhere. And if I want to compare languages, I can switch between language versions directly from here. So this is my French version. This is the German one. And once everything looks good, I'm ready to export the course to my LMS. So I just click Export, choose the SCORM format I need. We support SCORM 1.2 or SCORM 2004. And as we already mentioned, Smartcat supports multilingual SCORM export. That means all translated language versions are included in a single export, not as separate files. So instead of managing multiple SCORM packages, everything is delivered together as one LMS-ready course. The only thing you need to do is to click Export, and the file will be downloaded to your device. Great. So let's recap what this means for Melissa and for all of us. The course is exported as an LMS-ready SCORM package without rebuilding in the original authoring tool. All language versions are delivered together, not as separate manual exports. And delivery stays part of the same end-to-end workflow, from upload to translation to review to export. At this point, delivery is no longer fragile. It's predictable, repeatable, and ready to scale. So what we've just seen is this end-to-end workflow. You can see that you can assess that right now, full SCORM translation or localization, it will take not weeks, it will take just minutes. So it's dramatically less time and zero manual cleanup because you just get one single export-ready SCORM that will be uploaded to your LMS automatically. So this is a huge shift.
Thanks so much, Nadia. That was great to see and breaking it up and what it really means for Melissa there. So now we're going to talk about updates. So we know that enterprise content is never final, whether that might be an update at the last minute or within your process, or just going to refresh your content year over year for compliance reasons or just for new updates, especially in highly regulated settings. And most systems treat updates like it's a full restart. So you have to retranslate the entire course, all of the text, even if you made one tiny edit within there. And that's where trust really breaks and the timelines just completely collapsed. So global learning is only going to scale if we can control the updates that we have within our process. And that is a nice transition to what we're building next. So, as Nadia mentioned earlier, we currently support Rise Articulate SCORM packages, and we soon will soon support Storyline SCORM translation files. So it's very exciting for us. And then also, we're making updates safe and risk-free. You can change once, and then it will update everywhere and scale across all of your file formats. So this is how teams operate in real life, and it's what enterprise scale really demands today. So now I'm going to pass it back over to Nadia, and she's going to give us a little sneak peek of this.
Yeah, thanks, Jan. Yeah, so what you've just heard is exactly the problem this next part is designed to address. So far, we've talked about how Melissa can translate a course, review it, and deliver it. But, well, let's face it, real courses, they don't stay static. In real life, updates are not an edge case. They are the norm. So let's go back to Melissa. Imagine that some time has passed, the course is already live, and now she needs to make a change. In a traditional workflow, this is where things usually get painful, right? You re-export the course, you retranslate it, and then you manually try to sync the update across all languages. This is exactly the problem we are solving next. The key thing to understand here is that Melissa's translation projects don't disappear. Everything she's worked on is stored inside her Smartcat workspace. So instead of starting from scratch, Melissa simply comes back to the existing SCORM. She needs to open up the preview, and from the preview view, instead of clicking Export, she needs to click Edit. And this opens the course in the Canvas editor. And the Canvas editor lets her make changes directly to the course structure in a visual, builder-style environment. Let's say Melissa wants to add a new interactive element. She opens our block or content library, and now she's choosing what block she'd like to include in her course. And let's say she wants to include a statement. So she simply drags the statement into the correct place of her course. She enters the text. She can also choose the style of her statement and adjust background if needed. And that's it. The new element is now part of the course. Now comes the most important part. Melissa wants to update translation, so she clicks translate and translate again. And only the new element is sent for translation. Nothing else is touched, nothing is retranslated, nothing breaks. And after a few seconds, the new block appears in all language versions, as we can see. All existing content stays exactly as it was, approved, reviewed, and unchanged. Right, so now she opens the preview again and see the updated course, now with a new element in every language. So was the German version. This is the French version. Let's see if it's here. Yeah, it is. This is the Spanish one and the original one, just to double check that it's here. Great. And once everything looks good, Melissa can export the updated SCORM. So she clicks export again, chooses the SCORM format and clicks export. And now she can deliver it back to her LMS. So let's recap. This is what safe updates look like in practice. Melissa isn't locked into one-time translation. She can evolve her courses over time, make control changes, keep all language versions in sync without starting over.
Thanks so much, Nadia. That was great to see. Really excited to show some of the things that are on our very short-term roadmap there. So we really believe that a better way is here, and the old workflows are really stealing time and they're creating risk for your team, for your organization. And this is a step change. So you have one system for your global learning delivery and creation. So if you're ready to stop managing all of the chaos and see what it really looks like for one seamless workflow for your SCORM translation. And that concludes our webinar, and we're going to transition into some Q&A here. But if you manage global training and you've really felt a lot of the pains that we went through today with Melissa, um, you're really who we built this for. And we bring us your hardest course. We'll help you translate it. We'll walk you through and we'll show you exactly what's possible. And again, thank you so much for joining us. I know I've been reviewing the chat and we have a lot of questions in the chat that we'll answer here live. Anything that we can't get to, we can reach out to you later. We have all of your contact information and we can answer you there. Okay, and with that, I'm going to go to the top to some of the questions that we have. I see someone asked about the recording. The recording will be sent after, of course. And then a question regarding the final export. Will it be also possible to download, create in addition to a PDF version that's needed for our regulatory approval process? Yes, you can download into a PDF format as well. That's a possibility. And we have another one, a couple of questions about Smartcat. Is the tool intuitive and user-friendly for a non-technical team? Yes, it is very intuitive, very easy to use. A lot of our, we serve L&D professionals. We also serve marketing. We serve a lot of different non-technical teams. So it's very easy to use to get up to date. We, of course, have lots of support resources as well to provide help to our teams in using it as well. And then the second part of the question is, I understand that the content can be edited in Smartcat. What formats does Smartcat support? And how does Smartcat handle content in SCORM packages created with an articulate RISE license? Is the articulate license needed to make edits, or is Smartcat enough? I'll answer this, and then Nadia, you can hop in and clarify anything that maybe I left out. So with SCORM translation, we support text, images, and we can get all of it's over 80 file types that we support, but text, images, videos, of course, diagrams that are within the course. Let me know if I'm missing anything there, Nadia. um, and
PDF,
then everything that
PDF
oh
documents, yeah,
PDF
Excel
documents.
sheets. Yep.
And then if it's created with an articulate RISE license, so that's actually what we support here. So both 2004 and 1.2 SCORM packages, and you don't need an articulate license to make edits to it. So that is one great thing that you don't have to have. And then one of the value props is that everything happens in Smartcat. Is there a place in Smartcat for project owners to give feedback to translators for chat? Yes, we had that within the review. So you're able to add any type of reviewer from your internal organization if you would like to add that, if you have somebody who oversees your translations, an internal expert to do that, or you also can add in a marketplace expert as well, and be able to collaborate with them right within the platform on any of the updates.
Yes, I just wanted to add that inside our translation editor, there is a special section where you or your linguist can leave comments to each other to specific segments of your text that you are translating. So all collaboration happens inside our platform, which is really convenient.
And then next question, if I need the languages exported into separate files, can we? And does the full multilingual export also include the original English? I believe that is possible to do.
Yeah,
If you,
so basically we support multilingual SCORM package. If you want to include all languages into this single package, you can do that. If you don't, if for example, out of 5 languages, you want to export just one, let's say German, you can just exclude, untick all the rest of the boxes and just keep the German version inside the SCORM. Yeah,
okay,
I hope I
so it
answered
is
the question.
possible. Yes, yes, thank you, Nadia. And next question, how does the learner choose his or her language? That is possible in the when you first are setting up the project to when you first upload your SCORM package, you go in there and then you select what languages that you want. We have over 280 languages that are available for the course to be translated in.
And from the learner's perspective, I just wanted to add a small piece here. Once you export your SCORM and then you upload it to your LMS, there will be this language toggle that will be available for your learners. So they will be able to just click and select the language that they need. But automatically, as far as I know, the languages are assigned automatically to learners depending on their browser preferences. So if your learner has their browser in German, then they will see the German version of your course.
Thanks for clarifying that, Nadia. Okay, I think some of these. Okay, if we update a portion of an existing course and we use Smartcat to apply updates to translated versions of the course, we have to send the updates to translators for reviews. Is this part of the Smartcat workflow?
It actually is, yes. So this is the part that we are polishing up right now, and we are making some minor changes so that we are able to, so that our clients can use it, our users can use it. You will be able to just click translate again, and just this new segment of your course will be sent for translation. And yeah, so basically what I just showed. So yeah, just this piece of content is going to be sent for translation, and uh, no rework, no manual edits.
Thanks, Nadia. And during the review process, is there the ability to limit what exactly a reviewer can change, limiting them from changing colors, fonts, images, etc.? Anything that we want to make sure is controlled.
You can assign reviewers, linguists to specific tasks. So let's say if you want your translator reviewer to just edit and review certain image or certain language version, you can do that. I'm not sure if we can switch off all the editing capabilities, such as changing the color and font, but I need to double check it, to be honest. I don't want to give false information here.
Yeah,
But this is
that's
a
great.
good question. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one that we could definitely follow up on.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like we have two more questions. So one question is how much the original SCORM can be edited in Smartcat for export as RISE doesn't allow a SCORM to be re-imported.
Sorry, I just missed this question. Genevieve, could you please repeat it for me?
Oh yes. Oh, sorry. One question is how much the original SCORM can be edited in Smartcat for export as RISE doesn't allow SCORM to be re-imported.
Well, you can change whatever you want in terms of translation of text, images, um, yeah, videos. So you can translate everything. And then once you translate it, and then, for example, you want to update a picture, you don't like it anymore, you just click the same course, but from a Canvas editor. And there you'll be able to replace images, change content entirely. So there are no limits because we specifically developed it to make sure that you don't need, if you don't have access to original authoring tool, that's okay. You don't need it. Everything happens from on our side.
Thanks, Nadia. Okay, I think we have one more question here, and if any other ones that will that are in here, we can follow up with you on. And personally. So we use the Mighty plugin for Articulate. Does Smartcat support Mighty now that we have the SCORM agent? We've had it in the past with copy and paste text over to a Word document because EXLA files have granted otherwise generated for Articulate course with Mighty features. Ooh, this one is a bit technical that I think we probably have to, sorry, we might have to take that one offline just because it involves like a third party plugin. So um, we can follow up with you on that one. And then last question, what is the timeline for the next piece for the updates and for storyline? Those are coming very soon. They are on the short-term roadmap. I don't want to put a specific date on them now, but they will be coming out within, I'd expect the next 3 months. And with that, I will thank everyone so much for the thoughtful questions, for joining us today. We're really excited to share this with everyone, and we thank you so much for coming. We really think this is going to be a powerful feature to bring to our customers. So thank you so much. Thank you to Nadia and to Falk for joining us as well.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.